T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, this is sports and other stuff. Here's what we have for you this week. An AFC West preview, the NBA Finals kickoff, and the Washington football team is a little lighter in the wallet. A little something called Sports of Yesteryear, but first, what's going on with the latest in name, image, and likenesses, also known as NIL? T-Dog, you had something on that? What is it?
Yeah, well, just to keep it local, I was perusing through a article on The Athletic, and I see that our very own local player, Michael Penix for Indiana University, I guess he signed a deal with Dreamfield, and Dreamfield sets up meet and greets and autograph signings. If you want a meet and greet or, I guess, an autograph signing from Michael Penix, it'll cost you $500.
$500?
Yeah. So,
wow.
I was just going to say, I think companies are springing up to help, help these college kids navigate this whole new world. I think Texas has the most of those companies because they're the first to basically say everything's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. One that I got to ask Lugs on, because I know he was down in Alabama for a while. Auburn's quarterback Bo Nix signed a deal with Milo's Sweet Tea. Is that any good, Lugs? Do you remember? Have you ever had Milo's Sweet Tea?
I have. It's been a long time. I'm not a sweet tea kind of a guy, but that's big. You know, when you go into a restaurant in Alabama, they just say, "Do you want tea?" And it's going to be sweet. They don't have unsweetened tea. So that's a good deal for him.
You're not called Sweet Tea? Sweet Tea?
Milo's Sweet Tea. The other one that I thought was intriguing is instead of a player doing a social tweet, you know, obviously getting money from the social tweet, you have a large company like Arby's. They are actively promoting trying to find a face for them. They sent out a tweet that says, "We have a thing for Arby's, and we've been wanting to pay college RBs forever. If that's you, email us." So they're actively just trying to look for a spokesperson.
RBs?
Running backs?
Yes.
Is that the one that's out of Texas, right? That's I remember reading Open Endorse. Is it Open Endorse, I believe?
Oh no, this is Arby's. We have the meat.
We have the meat.
Yeah.
But
this is a national chain. Just asking. And then the other one that I just like because it just shows this at its height is Matthew Coughlin, who's a kicker for Michigan State. He was paid by Locked On Spartans podcast. He openly admits he's never listened to it, but he's like, "I'm sure it's not that bad." So there you go.
So Lugs, I got a
just
question.
Make a buck wherever you can.
You said back in the day, and I don't know what day that was, but that's a nice phrase to use. You'd go to those games down in the Southeastern Conference, and some guy'd shake a hand with a player, and in that hand would be a little cash, right? Little scratch money.
Oh yeah. No, I'll guarantee you. I probably shouldn't say this, but I was on the field after an Alabama-Auburn game, and Alabama won. This is like 20 years ago. Alabama won when they weren't supposed to. And the running back, I won't mention his name, he had just a career day for Alabama, and people kept coming up to him and shaking his hand, and he would stuff it into his pants. And I'd work in TV news. I'd talked to him several times. Anyway, the bottom line was that post game, he made about $4,800.
So here's the FCC. This is the alarm going off for us. We're in trouble now. Look out. Okay, but my question is, so the NIL thing just really legalizes all that, right? I mean, it's always been going on. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think the boosters and the big time fans, they're still going to be handing out cash to those guys like that, shaking hands at the end of games, and it it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. I think those guys are professional athletes and they should be compensated. Period. I mean, you look at. I've been to Alabama and Auburn practices when they would do it 2-a-days. You're wrestling. If you're a defensive offensive lineman, you're wrestling 350-pound guys for 6 hours a day. You need to be paid, you know?
Wait a minute. Isn't Tua Day the quarterback for the Dolphins?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tua?
Yeah.
That's his brother who plays at Maryland. Tua plays for Miami. Tua Day plays for Maryland.
Yeah, I thought so. He could change. It'd be a lot fewer letters on the back of his jersey. All right, so the NFL fines the Washington football team, speaking of football, $10 million after a workplace misconduct investigation. This punishment has been handed down to franchise and its owner, Daniel Snyder. So, T-Dog, what do we know about this?
The thing that is, that a lot of people brought up that makes it laughable is $10 million to a company that Forbes projects makes over $3 billion a year. Or is valued at over $3 billion a year. That's a drop in the bucket. Some other things. Daniel Snyder, who owns the Washington football team, he can't be a part of the day-to-day operations, and he's not going to go to any of the league meetings for the next few months or maybe possibly years. But luckily enough, a month ago, his wife Tanya. She is the co-owner now, so she will be doing it. So who's to say, considering that the new person heading the operations is his wife, he's still not going to have a say in it. It's like, I don't know. And as the people that were a part of, looking into this investigation, all the women that worked there, one of the spokesmen said, this is just a slap in the face. And particularly you look at timing wise with the, obviously it's not the same, but it's similar. When you look at like what's happened with the Bill Cosby case, it's just another situation where these people that have been victims of either bullying or, worse, sexual assault, or, why it makes it hard for them to speak up, because these people are just getting away with it. So
money talks. I mean, Bill Cosby, I saw now it's a technicality with Cosby. With Snyder, it was obvious. They could prove it and they settled. But it's you got cash, you can get yourself lawyers. The Cosby thing I looked into a little bit just because I was curious about all that. And he spent about $30 million. Now he's a very wealthy man, but that's a lot
on his defense.
cash.
On his defense for the court.
Yeah,
30.
He's had like 18 lawyers. I mean, it's crazy the amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, Snyder, he's not going to change. The atmosphere is not going to change. It's those folks who brought the charges or made stirred up, whatever, they're going to want. It's always in America, the snitch is the one who gets plastered.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
Well, it's also funny just because you look at this was the largest money fine infraction. The second largest was Jay Richardson, who owned the Carolina Panthers. 2.7 million was his fine for essentially the same thing. Essentially sexual misconduct. He essentially was pressured out, and that's why he's not the owner. That's why David Tepper owns the team now. And it just shows you how bizarre the situation is, because this is essentially, it's probably more than a second whammy. The first whammy was for years, people wanted them to change the name, and now they still have this. They're going into the second year of having this generic, where it's definitely him being a passive aggressive and just thumbing his nose at the league, at the people in general for the most part, that he's just called generic Washington football team. But this is the second thing where it clearly there is a sentiment. It feels like, and it's funny when you look at the NBA, you look at how the Clippers essentially, because of the behavior and actions of their previous owner, he was essentially forced out.
Right.
And it just shows you how the difference between the NBA and the NFL, where Daniel Snyder has had a longer, or it feels like he's had a long history of, at a high profile team in the NFL of acting badly in multitude of situations. And you look at a smaller market like Jerry Richardson, he gets pushed out, and Daniel Snyder's still there. That's what I find fascinating.
It's crazy. I just heard something this week. So your worst NFL franchise is worth about $3 billion, $2 to $3 billion.
Mm-hmm.
With online gaming and gaming growing, they said most franchises, even your worst, in the next few years will be worth between $8 and $10 billion. So guys like Snyder are just raking it in no matter whatever they do.
I was just going to say they're essentially untouchable.
Is what it is. Let's talk about the AFC West preview for 2021. Last year, we had the Chiefs, of course, at 14-2. The Raiders were 8-8. The Los Angeles Chargers were 7-9, and the Broncos pulled up the rear at 5-11. T-Dog, this is our third attempt to break down a conference, a division. What do you say about the AFC West for 2021?
We'll start with the beloved the Raiders. The Raiders.
You consider them the bottom?
Well, actually, it's the Broncos. You're right. It's the Broncos.
Okay, I was going to say, I hear a dollar coming my way.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I thought he was in the right spot on that one myself.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're comparable. So strength of this team is their secondary. At corner, thanks to Chicago, I believe, mismanaging their money, they get Kyle Fuller. They got Ronald Darby, another Bears ex-corner, Bryce Callahan, and then they drafted Patrick Surtain second. And at safety, they have Justin Simmons, who has 16 picks in 5 years. He's one of the top safeties in the league. Their weakness is easily Drew Lock, who threw more picks than games played last year. And for his 2 years playing, I know it's been up and down, but he's only averaged 6.6 yards per pass, which is woeful. I have them going 3-14.
Wow.
Now, I give them a little better shot. I have them at 5-12.
Okay.
I think since they signed Teddy Bridgewater,
Yeah.
they will be able to manage some games that they probably shouldn't win, but will win. But it's going to be close. It's just sad to see a group of athletes that used to be really, the defense especially, used to be amazing. Offensively, Elway never did get the quarterback right. I mean, I guess you could say with Peyton Manning, he got the last gas out of that tank. But other than that, as far as drafting a quarterback, he's never made that work. And I guess he's out of that position now altogether. But to me, they are the bottom. There's just no offense really that they can brag about.
Well, and I think Teddy, we like Teddy Bridgewater. No question about it. He's a friend of the show. Let's admit that. But I think he's a good backup now at best. So, no, doesn't have much of an impact, I don't think, anymore. And when I was a kid, there was a Ned Lock who was the ringmaster of Bozo's Circus. I wonder if Drew is kin to Ned. What do you guys think? Maybe? Good a chance?
Sure, he's got that orange hair, so.
Could have been a clown. All right, go on.
I will say you might be right, Jay Boy. The Raiders might be the bottom of the barrel because I will say I gave them a strength, but I looked at their depth chart up and down on offense and defense. There's not any position I feel